Hey, Lauren here. Here for a very, very special reason. Um, I'm here to talk with the very incredible, very, very, very big-hearted Lauren Hughes. I'm going to share a little bit more about how Lauren and I came to meet, but I know that you'll love her just like I do. She is an incredible, incredible woman with a really special and personal mission. And we met, I'll just give you a little bit of background while we're waiting for Lauren to come on. We met last year. We were both of our applications were accepted for the Women's Health and Fitness Summit 2018. And what that process entailed was 4+ months of being coached to give a TED-like talk on a topic that's relevant to women who work with women in the health and fitness industry. And this was no easy feat. It was a lot of work, it was a lot of dedication, it was a lot of just swallowing your ego down and getting feedback about your talk over time so that you had a really polished talk at the end to deliver in November. And that talk ended up being about 18-20 minutes long. So I did my talk, Lauren did hers, and along the way we got to see how that talk evolved, and we both had really sensitive topics. And I just, from the moment I first spoke to her and listened to her on camera, I could just feel her and just went, whoa, this is one of those crazy connections that is going to last a lifetime. So I've got no doubts about it. So what I'm going to do, hello, is this. So Lauren, you've got to be on as Lauren Hughes. Because it says no viewers to invite yet. Add viewers to be in your broadcast. Let me give it a go. There we go. Wait a minute. Yep, requests. Yep. Okay, let me give that a go. No viewers to invite. Sorry, just working this one out. Yeah, it's got you up as Tiny Ladder for some reason. Tiny Ladder is Lauren's offering. Ah, there we are. Yes, please. I want you. She's adding. She's being added.
Yes, technology is working. It's working.
We have echo.
Oh. Got it. Can you hear me or do I
Yeah,
you're good. Hi. How are you?
Good, thanks. I've still got echo on my end.
Shall I pop mine in?
Yes, please. Okay. Okay, how's that?
I'll just pop it in. Hello?
Okay. Yes, I didn't hear myself. That's awesome. I'm going to hold it.
Good?
I'm going to have to hold my phone. Yeah, all good. Really good. So, so Lauren, I didn't actually get to explain anything about you yet, Lauren, but I was just saying that that from the first moment I spoke to you online, I just felt that very rare feeling of, oh, okay, this is like a meeting of the minds, a meeting of the hearts, and I just felt that something special about you, in a non-romantic way, in more of a friendship way. But I just knew that you're a good egg, basically, and good eggs are hard to come by. So
Yeah,
So
I
throughout
agree.
that
Thank you.
process, oh, thanks, cool, that's awesome. So throughout that process of us doing the talk for the Women's Health and Fitness Summit, it's almost like we just revealed more layers in the writing process for the talk and to each other. And Lauren's talk, which I haven't said what it was about yet, was actually about it was centered around Lauren's experience of pregnancy loss, which includes miscarriage and stillbirth, of which Lauren's experienced both, and she'll go on to speak more into that. But it was really, it took it into this next level of, well, where do women who have experienced pregnancy loss and or stillbirth go to work out when they're in a postpartum period, and there are basically no spaces for them to go where they can feel safe in their grief and their loss. And Lauren's trying to rectify that through her own personal experience, where her personal experience meets her expertise. So her talk was absolutely brilliant, really well received, really beautifully delivered, and I just love it. If you could share with me a little bit about, and I fell in love all over again. Could you just share a little bit with us about what stillbirth is and just some of your personal experience with it?
Sure. Well, a stillbirth is defined a little bit differently in different countries and with the World Health Organization. But in Australia, stillbirth is defined as the death of a baby after 20 weeks gestation, and it can occur up to and including birth, so up to 40 weeks or beyond, and including during delivery. And so that 20 weeks can vary depending on where you're located in the world. And as I said, the World Health Organization is slightly different. I think they market it about 28 weeks. But my experience with it was full term. So I was 40 weeks and 2 days pregnant. And I went into my routine obstetrics monitoring on that second day after my due date, and when I was hooked up to the monitoring heart rate monitor for the baby, I was they took a while, and I was a little bit nervous as to what was happening. They couldn't find a heartbeat, so after what seemed like a very long time of them trying to look for a heartbeat, I was then taken to my own room where I connected with my obstetrician. I had my mum there and a sonographer, and for me that was where it was confirmed to me that I had lost my baby. And from there, what was really troubling to me, Lauren, was it was the prevalence of it. It wasn't. I didn't sort of feel like, why me? Why should this be me? That really didn't sort of come into my head. A lot of people said that to me. They said, oh, you did all the right things. You ate all the right things. You didn't put your body under this kind of stress or that kind of worry or whatever. And I was just thinking, well, if it's going to happen to anyone, why wouldn't it happen to me? Because 6 babies a day are stillborn in Australia, and that's a number that has gone unchanged in over 20 years. So the prevalence of it, that's over 2,000 Australian women who experience stillbirth every year. And to me, that is just phenomenal. So that's my experience with stillbirth. And the word seems so clinical. It seems so defined, but it's really just the loss of hope. It's the loss of dreams. It's the loss of a family. It's the loss of that love. It's the loss of such an innocent life that didn't get to experience the joys of life. So to me, it's that loss of so many things, rather than just saying, oh, you're not pregnant anymore, or you've just lost your baby. You're being so kind of cut and dry about it. It's the loss of so much more. So that was my experience with stillbirth.
following that, 2 years later, to the day after I experienced my stillbirth of my son, I also experienced an early miscarriage. So that was on the second anniversary, on the exact same day. So that was an early miscarriage, and although early miscarriage is a lot more common, I'll say, than stillbirth, with sort of up to a quarter of all known pregnancies ending in early miscarriage. The numbers are a lot higher. And there's also late term miscarriage. So late term miscarriage is the loss of a pregnancy or the loss of a baby from 12 weeks, so the end of the first trimester, up to that 20-week mark. And so during that time, depending on the age or the gestation of your pregnancy, the gestation of your baby, that it will depend on the physical and hormonal changes that go on in your body, and therefore what the considerations are then returning to exercise, which is where I'm going with my journey now.
Yeah. So you've shared with me, and you've shared publicly, that it was doubly confusing because you're an exercise expert, but you didn't know where to turn to, and what type of exercise would be best suited to you following your pregnancy losses. And could you just share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, of course. So as I mentioned, I was 40 weeks and 2 days. So I had to go through the labour, the delivery, the postnatal early days, and all of those considerations. So when it came time for me, which took a long time, to feel that I was ready and able to return to exercise, I felt a little bit more connected with my body, that I did want to take that next step and return to exercise. Ironically, being a personal trainer and a postnatal Pilates exercise specialist now, ironically back then I didn't know where to go. So I didn't fit into mums and bubs classes. I didn't fit into a regular group training class, because I had those postnatal considerations that every postnatal mum has. So ironically, I didn't feel like I fit into the fitness industry at all. And I found that there was a gap there. And now that was back in 2009, so coming up to 10 years now. I've just felt that I'm ready in this sort of last 18 months to step up and to fill that gap and to be that support for other women who have experienced pregnancy loss and looking to return to exercise with a postnatal specialist. So
wonderful. Oh my gosh. And is there a gap? There is such a gap there. And I can only imagine that the women that work with you will just get this whole another layer world of understanding that might not otherwise come from another training experience.
I really hope
and
so.
that will actually not just help their postpartum bodies, but help their grief recovery.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's so powerful. That is so powerful. There was something I wanted to ask you. It was more of a looking back, was there any aspect in your grief, or in your grief even today, where you felt like you needed permission? And if you, in any way, shape or form, and if so, what would you, 10 years on, say to Lauren back then?
Wow, I love this question. What a big question. So reflecting on my experience and coming so far now and looking back on it, and I guess I sort of take myself back into that headspace of that grief and that loss and those raw moments. 10 years on, I would say to myself, to have permission to go slowly, go gently, and just that fear of making others feel uncomfortable with my story.
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah.
felt like I had to hold it in. I felt like people just thought my baby disappeared, that I was no longer pregnant. People would look at me when I said, when I gave birth to Alexander, and the look on their face was like, oh yeah, yeah, you would have had to give birth. Yeah, that's so true. So giving myself permission to be able to speak freely and openly about my experience, about my grief, and not have it sort of more of a taboo issue, or so just giving myself permission to go slowly, go gently, and don't judge my body. I was so hard on myself, really hard on myself, and that now has also, that's something that has been carried with me as well until this day. And I felt like my body had failed me. So it's about just letting that go, and being comfortable in the skin that I'm in, and working towards that strength and stability, and not have to feel like I need to fit in to a particular group, or
Yeah.
so that's I would give myself permission to attend social gatherings as well. I would give myself permission to be frank with my friends about how I'm feeling, be frank with my husband about how I was feeling, and just say, look, today's not a good day for me, and today's a great day for me. I'm really prepared to go here, or maybe not today. Maybe we'll give that a miss. So, yeah, just take time, go gently, and it'll be okay. I will be okay. I will laugh again. I will smile again. I will go on to find new gratitude for simple things. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's the permission I would like to give to myself 10 years
Oh,
ago.
so gorgeous. It's so gorgeous, Lauren. It's so heartfelt, and it just comes from this place of wisdom. It comes from this deep place of wisdom and human experience that, I don't know, it would have been, I can only imagine back then it would have been, the mental state of move through it. Like you said, don't make other people uncomfortable. Don't worry people, maybe. Don't, yeah.
Yeah, you sort of feel like you take on like you are responsible for other people's grief. So if you're at a supermarket, I was at the grocery store, a week or two after, and the assistant came up to me, oh, where's your baby? You must have had your baby. And for me to think, oh, what am I going to say? Because I don't want her to feel uncomfortable. I don't want her to feel sad. I don't want her to feel upset. It was all about my thoughts of how other people would feel with my news, rather than just saying, look, this happens in life. I mean, I probably wasn't in the headspace to go into that at that stage, but just think, this is a part of life that is not talked about, and I don't know why it's not talked about, but it happens. It happens to over 2,000 Australian women every year, and that is, yes, phenomenal. What we put ourselves through to try and protect other people.
Yeah. Yeah. And you said something before about Jeremy. Your husband's name is Jeremy, right? Yeah.
Yes.
You
yes.
said something before about you'd be frank with him about how you're feeling. And I was just wondering if we can talk about intimacy. Were there any challenges following your pregnancy loss, either loss? Maybe they felt different. The recovery was different. Any like, did it feel like there were any blocks to intimacy while you were going through that grief?
Yes. Yes and no, actually, to that question. Blocks in intimacy, yeah. In that immediate time where you're told that your baby has died, you're in a fog, pretty much. You're in a fog from there until years later, months later, weeks later. So I called my husband after I found out the news, and I said, you have to come to the hospital right now. And he knew by the time of my voice what was sort of going on. So immediately we were thrown even closer together. And the connection that we then developed in those early minutes, hours, weeks, months following the death of Alexander was incredible. The bond that we created was even stronger. And so that connection, we didn't really have to talk to each other to know how we were feeling and what we needed, and it was just there. It was tangible between us, which was, I've never obviously felt anything like that previously. And but as time goes on, grief is subjective. So what I was feeling at one stage, Jeremy may have felt that, before, or may not have been there yet. So we were two different people grieving differently: a father grieving for his son, a mother grieving for her son, and that grieving process was different. So therefore we were driven apart, we were driven closer together, we were driven apart again, and it did create complications for our intimacy in our relationship. And we had that bond, though, that we were able to work from those early moments and early days and weeks following our loss, that we could then reconnect with. So we were in and out, absolutely, of different stages of grief, and understanding where each other was at in that stage of grief. So absolutely, that played a big part in our connection, the intimacy between us. When we felt like a hug, the other person might not have felt like that. That, and having that human touch, that connection, that strong, your rock, your solid foundation in your relationship, wanting that, needing that, but the other person wasn't there at that stage. So that was quite challenging. And then then looking towards having more children, then we were able to having to work through that on a different level. So it was there was challenges, and there still are. So it's a grieving process. It's a healing journey. It's not a destination, really. We'll never get over what we experience. We've learned from it, absolutely. We've been empowered by it. I've been motivated by it, and it's my new normal now. So it's just a matter of working things through as time goes on.
Yeah, I love that. And you seem so present with it, and present with what is now, and present with what could come as well. Like, it just, that wisdom is just shining through. That's almost like where you've been, you still don't even, I don't know, I was just hearing like an undercurrent of this possibility of what else you could move through in terms of your grief, because there is no final destination on it, but that you're also going to handle all of that with lots of love and lots of maturity as well. If that
happens.
Changes or evolves.
I feel like that our relationship has conquered, not so much conquered, but has moved through that grieving process together. So, and it's such, no one should have to go through this experience. No one should have to bury their child. It's just for me, it feels like it's just an unnatural process of the way that the world should work. But but to go through such an experience, I can say that has changed me, has changed our relationship, and I feel that with that we could get through anything that life would throw at us now.
Incredible. I just sorry, I keep bumping my own computer. I just can't help but think about how grief can cause our body to go into a form of contraction and a form of shutdown, and that self-protection, because we are just in the thick of it. And that's where, for me, I just thought, depression, grief, anxiety, we tend to really, really curl in and go into our shells. And I just thought, how would, I imagine some people who are really inclined to touch and really touch oriented would be like, oh my God, touch me, like I'm in this, touch me. And other people would be like, don't touch me, that is the last thing I want right now. Like, in that high stimuli, that internal high stimuli environment of grief and doubt and darkness and all of that. And yeah, I just thought, oh my goodness, I think I'd be the person that would be like completely in contraction, completely just in the thick of it. And I love hearing your story because it gives so much hope and a ray of light, an array of insight into the fact that touch can be healing if you're both okay with, or both saying yes to it. So would that be fair to? Would that be fair to say?
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. And there were those times that, as I said, I felt like my body had failed me. So I didn't want anyone touching my body. I didn't want anyone near my body. I was just thinking that, no, I want to discard this one. I want a new one, kind of thing. This one has let me down.
Yeah.
It's
yes. Yeah.
So therefore, to take my physical self and hug in a time where I felt that I was just, I just didn't want to be my body, that was challenging as well. But then moving through that and needing that connection and that human touch was very, very needed and very, very valid at certain times as well. So it was just really a matter of navigating that and communicating where I was at and where we were at, and how we could move through it together.
So was communication, did that start to flow? Did that start to flow a bit better as some of the early days of the grief lifted a bit? Did that get a bit clearer, or did that still have its own challenges, still like little bumps in the road over time?
Absolutely, yeah, the bumps in the road. I would, be daring to say that most relationships have lots of bumps in the road as we go along. And I don't see myself I don't see myself as anyone different to that. But grief certainly adds another big, thick layer to those bumps in the road. And over time, I think building up to certain dates really heightened my anxiety and brought grief again to the forefront of me. And so first anniversaries, so first birthdays, or birthday anniversary of Alex's death, Mother's Day, first Christmas, first Easter, first Father's Day, the due date. For some women, I've for me and my second loss, that due date, when that approached, then those sorts of things, just the lead up to it, was so much more challenging than the actual day itself. It was that anticipation of what it would be, and that lead up and building something up in my head that may or may not be true, and just working through that and being able to be open to my husband about that as well. And sometimes I was, sometimes I wasn't, sometimes I'd bottle it up, and then then those bumps in the road would occur. So it was really about just trying to be as open as possible. And with partners going back to work, perhaps that might throw another element of another layer into the grief as well, because they're moving at a different pace than you are. So in that lead up, their mind.
I've never thought of that. Yes, yeah. So, they're like, yeah.
So their mind might be on something completely different in the lead up, whereas for me, I didn't go back full time into work for quite a while, so it was that lead up was really strong for me. So we're just at different stages at different times, and being able to acknowledge that. That work that partners or even mothers are thrown back into can really mess with your mind and how you then interact with other colleagues or. So there's lots of layers. It was told to me.
Lots of layers.
Yeah, so many.
Yeah.
So
so many that you couldn't anticipate. You couldn't actually anticipate any of that.
Absolutely.
You're thrown into it and just had to adapt on the go.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's amazing what people are thrown and how people deal with things. And yeah, it's incredible. I've tried to make this my passion now to support other women who have experienced this loss, and from experiencing it myself, I, that support in returning to exercise following pregnancy loss should it's within me, it's within what I went through, it's what I've experienced. All, as I said, all grief is different. My loss is not going to be the same as somebody else's. My grieving process is not the same as somebody else's, and certainly no two losses are the same, but every single loss is significant, and every single loss deserves respect and support and understanding. So that's what I'm hoping to create and to achieve with my vision, moving forward with Tiny Ladder, and supporting women return to exercise in those early days postnatally.
Yeah. Beautiful. I love how your resilience, your learning experience, your depths, your grief, your loss, all of it combined can be put when it's ready. And it's shown you the last 18 months that it's ready to be put, to be channeled in another way that's going to mean so much to other women. I love that, how it can transform into that sense of purpose and that sense of support for others. Can you tell me what Tiny Ladder references? That's the name of your offering. That's the name of your business. What do those two words mean to you?
Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. Thank you. Tiny Ladder. I wanted to create a service, as I've mentioned, for women who have experienced pregnancy loss and stillbirth to return to exercise in those early weeks, months, and beyond following their loss, and creating that safe and comfortable space to train and meet and talk with other women, with a qualified postnatal trainer, was my vision. So with me, my grieving process was, I guess it was just a little bit up, it was a little bit down, it was a little bit sideways, it was a little bit, some days I was, fine and looking to socialize, and other days I just wanted to curl myself into a ball and didn't want to get out of bed. So Tiny Ladder, the actual ladder itself, represents those small steps we take up, those small steps we take down, and those small steps that we, feel like we're going around in circles sometimes. But that ladder is that symbol of just taking those steps forward and up, and moving into a space that is beyond where you are at the moment. So the tiny part of it is, I really love having that word there, because they are tiny steps, and they might not be recognizable every day or every moment, but those tiny steps do create that forward movement, that upward movement over time. And as those weeks, months and years go on, you find yourself in a place that you weren't in 3 years ago or 5 years ago, or for me 10 years ago. So those tiny steps that I wasn't really conscious that were there and were happening, they were all leading me up. They were all leading me in the direction that I wanted to go. So hence the name Tiny Ladder, and to really just create that support network, that service for women. And I'm in a process at the moment of creating a postnatal program for women who've experienced pregnancy loss, to be able to access through Tiny Ladder, and be able to exercise safely, and to reach out to communities and support organisations that they may not have known about, or may not be aware of, which I wasn't even aware of a women's health physio, which now it makes me laugh, as how could I not be aware of a women's health physio? I was in the industry, what's going on? But in that clouded mind of grief, it was, it wasn't said to me, Lauren, you need to go here. Lauren, you need to go there. We don't have, as bereaved mothers, we don't have those support networks that mothers with live babies have. We don't have the maternal health nurse come out to us the week after, or connect with us. They might call us up with, how's your baby going? Because the communication breakdown has happened, but that support isn't there. So So networks that are available that I like to connect women with as well, such as SANS, Stillbirth Foundation, Still Aware, Red Nose, and Bears for Hope. They're just some local ones in Australia, but I mean worldwide there are lots of organisations. But I just wish I had have known about those organisations back then. So hopefully my service, Tiny Ladder, can really expose, or not expose, but just open people's eyes to that, and just let them know that they are available and they are there, and they're usually run by women who have experienced stillbirth or pregnancy loss.
Yeah, incredible. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Lauren, for sharing your heart and your experience, and I'm in complete awe of you and your mission, and where you're putting all of your energy and attention based on what you've been through. And I'm just in complete awe. I love you, and I just and I really believe in, and everyone who's ever met you or had contact with you or has seen your work or seen your talk, I can attest right now they feel exactly the same way. And
really sweet.
I just can see, just listening to you speak, I can see the ripple effect of your work onto that. I know it'll reach beyond Melbourne. Basically, I know it's gonna be able to reach beyond. Yeah, definitely. But we just need to start, don't we? We just need to
start the conversation.
Yeah, we just need to start, and not complicate it, and just reach one woman who's in the thick of that grief and loss and confusion, and just really, again, tiny steps, tiny ladder, just like that is a major win. So I just want to acknowledge you and thank you for being so candid today. And what I'm going to do from here is leave in the comment section, I'm going to leave your handles, but do you just want to share what your website is and what social media platforms Tiny Ladder is on?
Oh, thank you, Lauren. So my website, Tiny Ladder, is www.tinyladder, all lowercase.com.au, and I'm on Facebook as Lauren Hughes, or Tiny Ladder, so HEWES. I'm often asked about the spelling of that, but you can follow me on Facebook, and on Instagram it's Tiny Ladder as well. So pop in Tiny Ladder. Hopefully I will pop up, and not a tradie, but we'll see.
Yeah, you do. You will.
So they're avenues. I'm also on LinkedIn as well, so you can connect with me, Lauren Hughes, HEWES.
Oh, that's progressive.
Yeah, I know. I'm getting out there.
You are getting out there. My goodness, LinkedIn. She's a pro. So please give Lauren a follow, and share if there's anything that you took away from listening today. Please share that with me on either Instagram or Facebook, or share it with Lauren. Let's listen to these stories, and let's hear these stories, and let's keep speaking the truth about these challenges that we face as humans, as women, as mamas, all of the whole experience. Let's talk about it.
Absolutely.
Let's talk. I got a message on Instagram saying, thank you so much for talking about this topic. I can't wait to listen. And I just thought, let's shed some of the taboo around around all of this. Absolutely. And talk and just feel a whole lot better and a whole lot less alone.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're not alone. Yeah. Absolutely. Women are going through an experience that is loss, that is grief, that is stillbirth, and you're not alone. There are thousands and thousands. After the Women's Health and Fitness Summit, I had so many women coming up to me after that and just saying, thank you so much for this presentation. Now I know how to connect with my daughter, my sister, my niece, my friend, my colleague. Others were saying, this happened to me, I've never told anybody. Others it was just overwhelming how many women in the audience of, just 100 or so were just,
100 women.
there were so many women who came up and have been touched by this experience in some way, whether it's immediate or a friend or family member. And I've been writing quite a bit now. On my website, I've got my blogs and just writing up about it, and sharing more about what's going on with stillbirth, what's going on with the recent Senate inquiry, what's going on with women's grief, what's going on with exercise following postnatal loss. So my blog, my mailing list, you can join up to that as well, and get some further insights, and just reach out to somebody who you can feel comfortable talking to. Just reach out. You're definitely not alone.
I love. Such an important message, and it can't be said enough, right? It can't. You can just keep repeating. You can repeat that to someone every day. Like, you're not alone. You're not alone. You're not alone. So, thank you so much, Lauren. Well, I'm going to leave this talk up here and spread it far and wide. And you're incredible. You're incredible.
Thank you.
Lots of love. And thank you. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Bye.